Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is weight training motivation. Well, I got a nice comment from one of my readers of my website or YouTube watcher, and he was, commenting on the weight training stuff that I talk about. And he said he was really enjoying the weight training, building up his muscles and getting into it, and appreciated my perspective on it. So thank you again for your comments. And then we corresponded a bit, and then he asked about, well, how do you what's some more motivation that you use to keep motivated to keep lifting? And I gave him I wrote him back, and I thought I'd share some of the stuff that I shared with him, because I think it'll do everybody a lot of good. So the first thing I talked about was my dad dying. My dad was 73 when he died, and it'd be up to the last year of his life. He kind of did a lot of the things he wanted to do, but that last year, man, that was a brutal year for him. And the biggest thing, he had all the health problems, was he was very, very weak, very, very weak. Anything was hard, right? Getting out of a chair, hard. Getting off the toilet, hard. Getting out of bed, hard. And this is all he did. He'd either be sleeping or in a chair or going to the bathroom, right? Or that's basically all he was doing, or trying to get to the doctor appointments for the whole year. And so if those simple things are hard to do, your life is just going to be miserable. And it was miserable. Now, apparently he wasn't in tremendous pain other than being so weak, right? So when you're old like that, they got you on medications, and you're basically going to the bathroom all the time. So you're basically shuffling off your chair into the bathroom, and either sitting on the toilet or going to the bathroom and shuffling back. And so it isn't just like, well, that shouldn't be a big deal, right? Going to the bathroom. Well, when you're old and sick and dying, it's a big, big deal. And if you're weak, it's even a more massive deal. Trying to get out of a chair, ooh, that's hard. Let's say you got to sit on the toilet. Oh my God, that was hard for him. And then plus, you're going to bathroom all night long. You're not just going to the bathroom before you go to bed and sleep a nice 8 or 9 hours. No, that isn't what happened when you get old. You're going to bed, a couple hours later, you're getting up, you got to go to the bathroom. And then you do it, and then you go back to bed, and you do that 3 or 4 times at night, right? So you don't sleep very well when you're sick and dying. And getting out of bed, if you're weak, is very, very difficult. So I'm just saying, that's motivation to me to see the person, one of the people I love the most, who miss terribly, who wish were still here, who miss continuously, seeing suffer like that, every time I think about, well, if I'm scheduled to go into the weight training, I think of him and get in there, right? That's a massive motivation to me. And, I think, if he was, let's say, stronger, had stronger arms, could help pull himself off the chair, if he had stronger legs from squatting, getting up and off the chair and off the toilet wouldn't have been so torturous. If he had a little more power, going to the doctor and spending the day at the doctor wouldn't have been so taking such a monumental effort. And truthfully, and maybe even if you're stronger like that, maybe the problems that ran him into the grave would have been postponed a little bit longer, right? Or at least, I like to think of it, maybe you'll just enjoy your life until that last moment when you just die without all of this doctoring and medicating and treatments and suffering. Ideally, that would be the way to go, I think. Anyway, that's motivation to me. So if you're an older guy, late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, better get to the weight room and get yourself on a little bit of a program to try to increase that strength a little bit so you don't have to suffer so darn much. Another motivating thing is if you're stronger, you can just do things for yourself, right? You don't have to call real men to help you with something because you're the real man who can just help yourself. To me, that's always been huge. You know, I've never, when I want to move something around the house, I just move it. I don't have to call a moving man, right? I just do it. You can always lift things out of the way, pick up things, move them around. You can move yourself. You can move stuff you get. It doesn't become such a big deal to move things. Like when a small, weak person, you know, moving the couch, like it's just something that they're not going to do. Or there shouldn't be anything to that, right? So just being able to do for yourself. The weights, I like them too because I think they help you look better. I don't think men without much muscle, I don't think they look like much. Sorry if that's you. I think men with a fair degree of muscle always look better, even if you're fat. Even if you're fat, if you got a massive back to go with a big belly, well, they kind of counterbalance themselves. If you got gigantic arms and a big belly, well, that's better than if you have a massive belly and little spaghetti thin arms, right? Now, certainly it's good to work on your belly size and get that flatter and more reduced. You know, I'm continually trying to do that within the realm of strength building, though. You want to not be weak. So a lot of guys, they're for some reason they're just crazy about cardio and being cardio. But like I said about my dad, doing cardio was the last thing he needed at the end of his life. What he needed was strength. What he needed was strength to make his life good, not cardio. The looks, so you know, when you're bigger, you look, I don't know, you just look more masculine, you look more tough, even if you're not really that handsome or good looking in the normal sense. If you have bigger muscles, you're going to look pretty darn good. You know, even ugly men look really good with big muscles. And if they, you know, you look big with your clothes. Now, it's a looks thing. When I was a younger man, yeah, having well-defined muscles, that kind of helps you with the ladies more. They like that because it's a better look. Another motivating factor is just the fun of doing it. It's fun because it doesn't really take that long. You know, you can usually get a good workout in an hour or less. And I know there's time getting there, there's time leaving, there's time recovery. Yeah, there's all that. But, you know, a 1 hour weight training workout is a lot shorter than a 4 or 5 hour golf match, for example. Or trying to get out on the boat and fish. You don't get a lot of fishing done in an hour, right? It takes longer. Like if you're practicing a sport, usually you're practicing that sport 2 or 3 hours a day, every day, right? Whereas weight training, you probably only need 1 hour, a 1 hour workout 2 or 3 times a week, right? So the time commitment is much, much smaller, and you get a lot more out of the effort of doing it. there's a lot of satisfaction in the lifting itself, in gradually increasing your weights or your reps or your capacity or something. There's just a lot of satisfaction in the doing it. There's a lot of getting through the challenges. So well, I ground through 3 sets of 5 with 315 on the squat. If nothing else is really going to be as hard as that, right? So doing the challenge of it. Another thing is, if you do it right, you won't get hurt as much as you would playing a sport, because there's nobody, let's say, trying to take your knees out like in football, or nobody trying to swat the ball down your, nobody throwing a baseball at your head. There's nobody trying to swat the ball down your throat like in basketball, or whizzing a puck by you in hockey, right? There's not like another person actively trying to hurt you so they win, right? With the weight training, it's just kind of you. There's nobody else there that you're having to compete against. You're just kind of competing against yourself, which is, I don't know, it's just more, for me, it's more satisfying. Now, yeah, I do get the idea of wanting to compete against people and win, but the strength would also help you there, with the idea of if you're stronger, a stronger athlete's going to usually beat a weaker athlete. So that would help you if you're young and athletic and you care about such things. Yeah, those are kind of my main motivational, how to stay motivated, the weight train. So I would give those ideas some serious thought. I think you'll find, if you're weight training, it might help you live a little longer. I think you'll prove it to yourself that the time you live, if you're stronger, will be better and easier. It will be easier for you to look a little better with a little more muscle on your frame. You'll be able to do for yourself. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you the bigger and stronger you are, the less likely people are going to mess with you, right? The less likely you're going to be a victim of a crime. The less likely you'll be picked out as a person for criminals to prey upon. And if they do make the mistake of trying to do something to you, that you can probably fight back better than you could if you were smaller and weaker. So I think that's huge. It gets into it helps your mind. You're not quite as afraid. So give those ideas some thought. All for now.